You're listening to the Blunders and Flagons podcast.
Barty Took is sitting by a dim lantern, looking suspiciously into the darkness.
What was that? Probably just the wind, or maybe a squirrel. No, too loud for a squirrel. Or was it a big squirrel? Ah, an owl! I see you up there. Nothing suspicious about an owl, except unless you're one of those owls. You know, the kind that steals bread rolls. I'm watching you, bread bandit. Oh no, what's this? A boar? No, it's too dainty for a boar. Maybe a hedgehog? Or a whole gang of hedgehogs? Alright, hedgehogs, you've met your match if you're after me biscuits. Mice! Oh no, not the cheese, not the cheese! I should have put it in my knapsack. Why didn't I put it in my knapsack? Okay, that one wasn't small. That one wasn't small at all. Is it a bear? Do bears even scratch trees? Or could it be a tree ghost? No, Barty, don't be ridiculous. There's no such thing as tree ghosts. Unless there are. A sneeze? Trees don't sneeze. Who sneezes in the woods? What kind of a beast are you?
Meow.
A cat? A cat? Well, of course it's a cat. I knew all along. Not afraid of you, little... Scram! Scat cat! Ooh, just a cat. Right, back to watch duty. Nothing to worry about at all. Nothing to worry about. Hey! Banjo! Barry! Wake up, lads! Welcome to Blunders and Flagons, the podcast where wild tales meet fantastic fails in the world of Middle-earth. I'm Jerry, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this epic journey filled with laughter, questionable decisions, and a fair share of hobbit-sized antics. I am playing the big-hearted, small-statured Barty Took, a wee lad from the Tooklands who sports an axe and no beard, likes to think himself as a dwarf. He's not. Obviously, he's a hobbit. That's why we're having hobbit-sized antics. And he'd like to introduce you all folks to his second favorite hobbit, Banjo.
Hi guys, my in-character, don't tell anyone else, my in-character name is Banjo Grumman, but in real life, my secret identity is Drew. And I am the real guy behind the Hobbit, playing this guy who makes literally the worst decisions possible. That's actually my goal, I think. No, but he is a little spry character. Definitely trying to get in a lot of trouble and finding his way to heroism. He longs for fame and glory in legend, to be enthroned in legendary. So that is my character, and he's oft corrected by the very wise travel companion of the two, or of the three, the wisest, I'd say, Barry.
Hello everyone, my name is Daniel, and I play Barrelak Bramblefoot, or as most of his friends know him by, Barry. And he is a hobbit, a very quintessential hobbit. He loves the plants, he loves the herbs, and he loves wandering around the Shire, gathering the plants and herbs. And he uses them very often in all sorts of medicinal purposes and culinary purposes. He's quite proud of teaching his two young boys how to identify various herbs that grow around their hobbit home, and he has encouraged them in his little hobby of collecting and categorizing and selling herbs.
Very nice. I am David. I'm the lore master around here at Blunders and Flagons, and my fun fact for the day is that Holman Greenhand, who is the current gardener-in-chief at Bag End, has been gardening there ever since Bilbo was but a wee tyke. And he wonders why, a little bit, why Bilbo seems to not have aged a day since he came back from his fated adventure. And he remembers when he was just toddling around. So yeah, that's my fun fact. When we left off last time, you left Barty under the bridge with the mushrooms. He hung back while Barry and Banjo proceeded to the Green Dragon. Of course, you had left Bin Bowl, and nothing interesting happened there.
Nothing at all. No.
Nothing at all.
We saw a wolf.
Shh,
We-
you
we
didn't
did-
see anything.
We didn't see a wolf. We saw a prince.
Roll for recollection.
Roll for recollection. And you failed.
Can't remember.
While at the Green Dragon, you discovered the terrible truth that Rumbold and Gerda were married, and Rumbold may or may not be out for blood after the perceived threats that his wife received
Uh-oh.
over a basket of shrooms.
Man, what did we say again? I don't remember.
Do hobbits actually have like blood feuds?
They're far more passive aggressive,
That
but
makes more sense.
Great.
So we're just
you
gonna
know.
have like
You're going to be shunned, basically. You're going to be treated to an Amish hobbit shunning.
an Amish hobbit shunning. What? That's a new phrase.
There you go. When we come back, we will zoom in as the look that Banjo gives to Barry kind of zooms past him to the window and flies back out to a bridge that runs over a lovely flowing body of water called the Water. We see Barty, and he's sitting there. He's got the knapsacks next to him filled with mushrooms. What's Barty been doing during this time? What's he up to?
Try not to doze off, first of all. But he doesn't. Barty likes to consider himself a thinker. He's more of a daydreamer, though. Less of a thinker of thoughts, more of a daydreamer of fantasies. His mind wanders back to his family. He's also keeping an eye out for, of course, sheriffs and bounders and all the like. He wants to make sure that he's not going to get in trouble. He mindlessly snacks on a couple mushrooms, 2 max. It was 5. But for the most part, he's just keeping a passive eye out while he's just munching and remembering how his family doesn't necessarily accept him for who he is as a air quotes dwarf, and just that sort of thing.
Okay. So, Barty, as you're sitting there trying to be unobtrusive with your mushrooms and such,
Yeah.
go ahead and make your stealth roll to see how well that goes for you.
Also, guys, guess what I figured out? Remember when we were rolling at disadvantage? You can roll 2 d20s.
You can roll 2 d20s.
Well, did I pass the DC?
You blend in with the shadows as you quietly munch on your mushrooms and think your deep thoughts about family and the connections that you have and don't have there. Of course, you can't help but consider also Bilbo and the chance meeting that you hope yet to have with him, having left that message with Holman and Hamfast back at Bag End. But it seems that you are well hidden, and you do hear some footsteps pass over top of you, and indeed, you see as the shadow of the bridge above you is cast into the water in front of you, you see a shadow that casts long, and you think you can make out even the shadow of a feathered cap on ahead as they pause and stop at the bridge, look around,
Holds his breath.
sigh, and even perhaps whistle a merry tune. And toddle off, continuing on down the road. You seem quite confident that you are hidden. We'll continue on down the road. We'll zoom back to the Green Dragon Inn. Barry and Banjo, you have wrapped up your soup. The bowls are empty. You've gleaned some information from tasting it and from talking with Dahlia. What do you do? How do you act on the information you have received and deduced from your skillful hobbit taste buds?
Well, I don't know about Banjo, but Barry is at a bit of a crossroads here. He's very much enjoyed the soup, as any sane hobbit would. It is a delicious and hearty and savory, and it just transports him to another realm of just coziness and reminds him of just a simpler time when he was eating soup at his parents' home in Needlehole, enjoying it perhaps on a rainy autumn afternoon. It would be exactly the right kind of soup to serve during this season and even well beyond. But the crossroads is that along with that enjoyment of the soup comes the pang of guilt that he is now confronted with the fact that essentially what they are doing is corporate espionage and undermining the Green Dragon Inn and their monopoly on Boffin's Crock. And so there's a very bittersweet, there's some conflict in him. And so he's, for once in his life, in recent years, he's at a total loss. And he has absolutely nothing to say, despite this raging turmoil of inner thought that is going inside his mind. So he just looks at Banjo and gives him a rather bewildered expression.
Oh, I really enjoyed that soup. I had a little bit of garlic. Was it garlic and onion and the roasted mushrooms on top? Oh, seared mushrooms on top were good.
Meanwhile, Banjo is not distracted whatsoever by the moral dilemma. He's very centered on the food
unfettered.
itself. He's
Sorry.
Yeah, dude, I can if there's anything I can assure you of is that Banjo is not thinking that this is corporate espionage at all.
He doesn't even know what espionage means. Come on.
Corporate espionage are like the two last words you would ever learn.
corporate sponge.
The corporate sponge. It's basically soaking it up.
Is that the part of the soup that's soaking in all the nutrients? I don't know.
It's good, whatever it is, put more in it.
So while you're talking back and forth about the soup and the moral implications thereof, the ethical dilemma which you hobbits seem to have found yourself within, Fred comes by without speaking, just snatches up the bowls which are empty. Anything else, lads?
Fred, that's why I like you, man. No, all this was so great. Thank you so much. And we already paid, so I think we're good to go. But thank you, Fred. You're a gentleman and a scholar, my good friend.
How dare you? And he walks off. I've never been called a scholar in my life.
Not the reaction that I was expecting at all.
Way to go, Banjo. Insulting people accidentally again.
Oof.
Aw, man, laughing track, please.
You hear him as he goes back into the back room. What's a scholar then?
That guy out there called me a scholar. You know what that means?
I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's nasty.
It's just horrible. Yeah, and your mom's a scholar too. No, I did not say that. I obviously wouldn't say that, but I do turn to my ineffable friend. Barry, I do think we should get out of here and get back to Barty. He must be, Lord knows where. I doubt he's still in the bridge we left him at.
All right.
Hey,
That's a grand idea, Banjo. Let's get out of here and let's make our way back. And I think we three have a bit of talking about to do. I'm not sure where we're sitting on the fence here, but I think we need to talk about things. So let's be off then.
So you can easily enough make your way through the somewhat busy streets. It's a little after noon at this point, reaching the mid-afternoon, and there are folks milling about. Are you concerned at all with hiding your presence? Are you simply going back to where you were? Is there any caution there that you're trying to have?
I don't think so. We don't really. I mean, it's not like we have mushrooms, but
Yeah, I think as soon as we get to the designated area, then we would start looking out and just making sure that we're not, like, gonna intercept anybody while we get to the bridge. But other than that, yeah, I don't see a need for stealth.
It is, yeah. The bridge is unfortunately in a not a secluded part of town.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll say go ahead and make a group stealth check as you approach the bridge to try to surreptitiously. Yes.
I was gonna say, so as Barry is kind of mulling over these things in his mind, he kind of latches onto this whole corporate espionage thing, and whether for good or ill, he's getting into this mentality of, oh, we need to be very, very careful, and we don't want to get caught. So he kind of nudges Banjo as they're walking along very nonchalantly in the direction of the bridge, and he says, "Hey Banjo, there's an idea. We probably don't want to alert anyone about Barty hiding under the bridge. So I've come up with a plan. You just follow my lead, alright, lad?"
Alrighto, Barry, I'll follow your lead.
Okay.
Oh,
And so
no.
Barry would like to proceed to the bridge, walk very nonchalantly to the middle of the bridge, and stop there. And as he's stopping there, he will speak aloud in a very clearly meant for Barty below the bridge voice.
Barty below the bridge voice.
What does that voice
Is that the name
sound
of this
like,
episode? Barty
Barry?
below the bridge?
Yeah, that's 100% going to be the name of this episode, Barty Below the Bridge. So he pauses there on the middle of the bridge and he says, "Well, that soup was mighty delicious that we had at the Green Dragon Inn. It tasted mighty fine." And
You hear a dry retching come from underneath the bridge.
Oh yes, that soup we had with that crock was mighty fine. Yes, quite delicious.
all right, Banjo. Well, right now we're going to go back out the way we came towards the exit of town, and we're heading back to Mickle Delving. I hope that our friend, wherever he might be, can make his way quick and quiet and unnoticed out of town and back, and we'll wait for him in the nearest clearing outside of town.
So while Barry is saying this, I've popped my head up over the top of the bridge, and as he says, as quietly as possible, I slink
Hide
back
back
under the
down.
bridge. I was mid-wave.
Like you're about to climb up and join us. oh, quiet. Okay, yeah. Okay. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
I pictured the scene from Kidnapped where the Scottish guy like goes halfway across the bridge with the like thing up and smokes his pipe for a second,
It's like,
and then David Balfour walks by. Yeah,
I've never
Oh
seen
my
that.
gosh, it's so good.
Love that movie.
Oh,
good stuff. Okay, so go ahead and Barry and Banjo, go ahead and make your stealth rolls.
I did mine and it was a 14.
Okay,
Okay, there we go.
16.
great.
Not bad.
Super. So there's a couple of hobbits walking by, and they are deeply engaged in conversation. They have a small toddler behind them. So it's a mother and a father who are talking, and they're very engaged. Oh yes, I just can't wait for the Yule season. We have such a great time at the Yule festival. I hear they're having a special celebration up in Mickle Delving, but maybe we'll have something really nice here at the party tree as well. And they're, oh yes, that will be very nice, absolutely. And they are completely oblivious to what you say. However, the little hobbit child behind them, holding on to Mother's hand, was looking up at them and is watching you very interestingly. And they look over just in time to see Barty's head pop up over the side and then creep back slowly down. And she looks at him and giggles, and they all continue on without having, for all practical purposes, noticed anything strange going on here at the bridge. So,
Silly troll bridge.
with those successful rolls, we'll say that you are able to safely navigate your way out of town. Just for sake of time, we won't go through the complete logistics of all that, but we'll say you're able to meet back up just outside of town on the road to Mickle Delving.
Super.
Without alerting anyone within Hobbiton of your presence.
That was insanely easy.
Well, you knew that plan was going to work for sure.
Well, that's why we always trust you with the head plans and us with the... When we do things. We'll do the things. You think the things.
Well, that's right. I'll be in charge of the thinkerin', and you be in charge of the doerin'.
Very good. So, as you meet up and possibly slink off a little bit away from the road to talk about what your plan is, we'll consider this the journey phase for your return trip. So how are you, what's your plan? How are you heading there? And then we'll have a journey roll at the end of this to wrap it up.
So I remember the way that we got to Hobbiton was through like that byway. It wasn't necessarily the highways that more bounders would be on, but it was more the byway.
Well, what happened was you were taking the main road, but then you found a shortcut.
I say, Banjo, do you remember that shortcut that we found on the way out here?
I remember the shortcut here. I don't know if I can remember it back, though. See, it's different. It's always different when you come here and when you're going back.
That's what I've heard, but I was just hoping maybe you'd remember.
I don't know. You know what? Let me think. Roll for thinking. Can I genuinely attempt with my survival skills to try to locate a pathway back, or would that be just from our journey roll?
So the journey roll will change based on your decision of the path. So it's not necessarily that there's a shortcut there that always exists now for you, but
Gotcha.
it's based
that
on the
makes more
specific
sense.
journey roll. So
That makes more sense.
you could, if you decided you wanted to try to bank on finding that shortcut again, that could
Determine more of an outcome.
what it would probably do is make it so that it's less likely that you'd be in the middle of the road. So you'd probably either really do really well with your shortcut, or it would really mess you up because you're sure you have it. So
High risk, high reward.
yeah.
Yeah. So what might be a way is going with the intent to find it, but just going by
Just using passive.
just kind of like a passive search for that. I mean, and I don't mind being more like off the road than you guys or something like that to more intently look for it, but I'm down to just kind of meander and casually look.
30 minutes down the road. Wait, where's Banjo? I thought you had him, Barry.
I don't know where he went.
He's off chasing a dead duck somewhere.
What I'm gathering is that you are wanting to go back to Mickle Delving.
Yes.
That's your end goal.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I understand that there were some things that you wanted to discuss as a party as far as what your purpose is in going back or how you want to go about this. Am I wrong about that?
No.
That's correct. Yes, you're not wrong.
I think we're just making a delicious soup for everybody at the feast.
But what I do want to obviously share is like the ingredients that we'll have to get definitely on the list would be garlic and onions and thyme. So we do need to acquire those once we get.
I mean, that's all
back
stuff
to
we just
Hobbiton.
find along the road. This is the Shire. Everything grows here, right?
Everything
and
grows.
And even if you don't find it along the road, that's stuff
Grows.
you'll have at home. That's not in a necessary like shopping listing. It's like
But also the way it was prepared, I
get
think the mushrooms that are in the soup are crushed, like they're very fine. Like it's almost like it was like creamy. The soup was creamy because of it. And then on top was like seared mushrooms. So that's like the two main things that stood out other than the ingredients in the soup. I just wanted to clarify that for everybody again and make sure the Barty knows it. But yeah, that's definitely what we want to get before making the soup or making like waves to get someone who knows how to cook to help us out in making it.
So, Banjo, as you explain the soup, Barty turns an ungodly shade of green, and he's doing his very best to hold the 12.5 mushrooms he ate under the bridge to himself.
That's so funny, dude.
But yeah, and then I think we definitely want to get a hold of Sheriff Bolger when we get back in any way, shape, or form.
What do you think, Barry? I don't think Drew
Twirls.
actually sees the...
Twirls mustache. What?
What?
Oh.
No, Daniel left. He'll be back in a second.
Oh. Word.
That was the joke.
My bad. I didn't see that. I don't have
You're
cameras on.
fine. You were too engrossed, and I used the word gross intentionally. You were too engrossed in soup.
Well, I wasn't really
description.
in character either, so.
That's fine. Daniel, you
I was
missed it.
just
I
kind of
hurled all
saying.
over Banjo.
Very sorry.
He thought of soup and then he saw mushroom soup.
We good?
No, I didn't.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, no.
Why am I not
Anything?
hearing anything?
Anything? Anything?
What has happened?
Anything?
Did it unplug? You can't hear me troubleshooting.
Try to. Yeah, that's
Have
some
you
great
tried
advice.
turning it off and you're back on again?
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
I can hear you now. Sorry.
Welcome back.
Howdy ho.
You didn't miss anything. Trust me.
I didn't think so. Okay.
Nothing you already knew.
Rude.
So sorry. So sorry.
They were just discussing the ethical implications of soup-spionage.
Oh, I see. I see.
Episode 2.5 title?
Halfway through, it changes titles.
Soupgate.
Yeah.
Soupgate.
Drew is just sharing his list of ingredients from that and talking about.
And I was trying not to share the contents of my stomach.
I see. I see. Oh, that's right. Barty does not like mushrooms.
What?
Soup.
No,
He likes
I love
mushrooms, just not soup.
I hate
Not
soup.
soup. Oh, soup. Right.
It's too watery.
I see. That's
much
right.
water.
It's not a hearty
too
meal.
soupy.
Yeah.
Clearly,
It's
you've
too
not
soupy.
had a real hearty soup.
It's not the stuff at
Technically,
dwarves.
technically
Dwarves
everything
eat
you
meat.
eat turns into soup. So
I feel like honestly, dwarves would eat a ton of soup, but you never know. It seems like
that's
a very
just
dwarf,
a dwarf
soup.
thing.
It's just it's
nobody-
more about what Barty thinks dwarves would
Yeah,
do.
that's
which
true.
is, as
I was
as
gonna
time
say,
goes on, the
never-
divergences are
Nobody
apparent.
has ever told Barty that dwarves eat soup. Everyone always says dwarves are meat eaters. They'll eat the hog out the back of your garden if you're not watching them closely. Not even
Alright.
cook it. They'll just take a bite of the live hog.
Wow.
I don't even have a hog, but I'm scared.
All right. So, Barry, you said you had some thoughts though. What you've got this long lost sadness in your eyes I haven't seen before.
Oh. That's right. I'm not sure exactly where I've strayed from the path, but
We're on the path, my friend. We're right here. Look at it. Look at your feet.
I think we got caught up in all the excitement of traveling to a place, and that soup was just enchanting, and I don't know, but I'm not so sure how I feel about all this skulking around and avoiding law enforcement officers. It's just not the kind of activities I'd want my young boys doing. And for what? To make a Sheriff Bolger happy? I'm not so sure I care much for him in general, much less use his opinion and influence to make me do something I'd rather not do. I just don't know, lads. Do we really want to be part and party to this sort of activity? Is this what we want to be made known for? For sneaking in and stealing the recipe of the Buffin's Crock from the hard-working hobbits of the Green Dragon Inn and invading poor Gerda Buffin's magical and amazing tree of mushrooms? I just don't know, lads. I'm torn. I'm torn.
Right. Stop your yammering, first of all, Master Barry, Mr. Experience.
I beg your pardon.
Firstly, do not beg my pardon. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'll stop you right dead in your tracks. In fact, stop in your tracks. Face me like a man. Look at this.
Oh yeah, I'm facing
We're already done. Banjo knows the recipe. I have the mushrooms. If you don't want to make the soup and save the Yuletide, that's on you.
Wait. What if instead of doing Sheriff Bolger's idea, and in a way to repay Gerda Boffin for... So they are stolen now, but if we return the favor or pay her back, we could technically repair some burnt bridges. You know, burnt bridges can always be rebuilt, but you need wood. And our wood would be taking these ingredients, taking the inspiration from the trip, this journey we've been on to find this soup, and use that as inspiration for a different dish that we could sell somehow and use the money to repay our debt to Gerda Boffin. Idea, and I'm totally okay with workshopping any aspect, but that's just a throw it out. It's bake sale, project bake sale.
Workshop this, Banjo. We're making the bloomin' soup.
Oh, you don't.
And that's from a guy who doesn't like soup.
Not so
we have
fast
spent
there.
Listen here. We
Two to
have
one.
spent an
Two to
entire
one.
bloomin' week. We have spent a week of our fiddling lives trying to figure these bloomin' shrooms out for some nasty old bullwater. We're
Exactly.
not turning around right now. Listen, if I have to make it and leave you two to your own devices, I bloomin' well will. I have not wasted a week for soup. Ugh.
Well, that's the thing. If you don't like it, we could change. We could, and here's the thing: if it's good enough, Sheriff Bolger won't care. He won't care about this, idea. If it's better, if we somehow find a way, because the best thing about this soup is the mushrooms. And maybe I'm just reaching too far, but I'm very Barry. I must say, your speech it touched a part of me. I don't want to be known for doing something bad. I don't want to be, Banjo. Oh, he's a thief. Banjo, he steals mushrooms out of logs. I don't want to be known like that. That's not who I am. I want to be somebody.
If I could stop you there, Banjo, they'd be outing themselves if they said you stole them from logs. Nobody knows where the mushrooms come from. It's one of Gerda Boffin's best-kept secrets.
Barty,
So
you're
if
missing
they
the
were,
point. The bad thing isn't that they know where it came from. The bad thing is they know I'm a stealer.
But
And
who's
sooner
to
or
say you
later,
stole it?
well, my mommy always told me that sooner or later the truth does come out. It slips out. It's slippery, and I don't want to get caught with all this. It was fun in the time, and I think Barry's right. We kind of just rushed through it and didn't think for a moment. And now that I'm thinking, which I don't do, leave it to Barry. I don't know about this, you guys.
What is this?
We can't see your face. So no.
Wait, so what bloomin' happened at the Green Dragon Inn that I missed? You
That
two are a
soup was
bunch
really
of
good.
softies.
Well,
No, you didn't.
Well-
You didn't see the look and the. You weren't there when all the hobbits shunned us. When everybody in the
Oh.
diner looked away when we
Well,
came in
so-
the room, they looked away. Nobody
So-
cared.
So what I'm hearing is you don't care about the ethics of the situation at all. You care about your social standing. That's what it boils down to.
we've seen firsthand what happens when you burn a bridge, when you steal, when you do bad things, to people. Good people. Those were good people. You remember when we walked in that first time and it was a lively, happy place and everyone was... That was not. It was bleak. The soup was the only warm thing in that room. Everything else was cold. Right. Even Fred spit at me. He spit on me and he said, "I hate you." As his words.
His words, not his.
You don't want people to act like that. And again, Barty, I'll give you grace because you weren't there. You didn't see. You didn't experience the horror of social shunning. It sucks. It's not good, and I don't want any part of something that's gonna deteriorate a connection. Especially, dude, I gotta think about my reputation, man.
Well, social ostracization aside.
Whoa.
I know that's a
10 silver word right there.
Well, I'd say it might even be platinum, but we're not gonna discuss the value of certain words over others. Regardless, social ostracization aside, the issue at hand is the moral nature of the thing. And unfortunately, we've done a wrong. We've taken something that doesn't belong to us. And it was very clear that Gerda Buffin didn't want us meddling around in the forest. It's a very closely guarded secret. It's her livelihood. When it all comes down to it, that's her livelihood. I'm sure she's paid a good sum of money by the folks over at the Green Dragon Inn, Dahlia, to provide the mushrooms, and Rumbold, who apparently is her husband. I don't know if you got that, but Rumbold is her husband, and they together provide this Buffin's crock, which is quite a large selling point for the Green Dragon. So,
right.
No, go ahead.
So, two things. First, using big words, you're not going to pull the wool over good old Barty's eyes. You're also afraid of Humboldt, aren't you? That big old meaty man in the back.
Well, no,
You're not scared of him.
No, I'm not as scared of a large fella like that as I am the way my sons look at me when they hear that their da took what didn't belong to him. That's what I'm scared of.
Well, here's the thing, right? She doesn't own the woods. Anybody could have stumbled across the mushrooms in a tree. In fact, we might have protected it. You saw those big old paw prints out the front, right? What if these are the last bloomin' well mushrooms out there? You don't know. You don't know. We might be doing the world a favor by making this soup. You didn't think about that, did you?
You're very right, Barty. Nothing by chance, but at the end of the day, I'm taking your accent, sorry. At the end of the day, what happens is we need to balance this horrid thing that we've done. So after what we do, regardless of what we do in Michael Delving, we need to make amends.
Right. So here's the problem that I have, right? You guys have put yourself, I should say we all, because we have, and I do hear you. You make some valid points, Barry. Not you, Banjo. You're just a yes man.
Yes. Yes, I am.
What'd you say?
Pebble.
Either way, you've lied or stolen to either side of the party. You stole Sheriff Bolger's time, because this was something he was going to do himself either way, or you've stolen the mushrooms, which we already have, and if we intend to return them, they'll go bad. Right, first thing. Second thing, I forget.
Right. Well, I like the idea that Banjo has about potentially using these ingredients to make something else entirely. And it might be some kind of a shepherd's pie type deal, which, us hobbits, we do like ourselves a delicious pie. And a savoury mushroom pie sounds right delicious. But I have another...
A hand pie.
Aye? A hand pie? What?
Yeah, a pie you can hold in your hand.
Yeah, it's
right.
It's
like a
calzone
hand pie. Yeah, right.
Barty wipes the corner of his mouth because he's starting to drool.
Like,
his food does sound good.
Like an empanada type thing.
He steals himself. He says, "No, we've come this far. We didn't come this far just to come this far. It doesn't make any bleeding sense."
But the empanadas.
Yo necesito empanadas, Barty.
I've heard of a remote tribe of elves called the Mexicans, and they make right good empanadas.
The Mexicans.
So I like Banjo's idea about making an alternative recipe. That way, we wouldn't be really infringing on the soup intellectual property, or IP, to use another one of them fancy words.
Or
But
ISP,
another
International Soup Provider.
There you go. Your intellectual soup provider. But another idea I had was, since we have the ingredients at hand, we could extend a sort of business opportunity on behalf and unbeknownst by Gerda Buffin to the Babe and Bird and Babe over in Mickle Delving. We could propose that she expand her operation of Buffin's Crock to first the Bird and Babe in Mickle Delving and perhaps other inns, because I know for a certain fact that there are many hobbits and strangers and wanderers and travellers who've come to all these inns and taverns, because I do a fair bit of travelling, and they're always asking after the soup. They've heard rumours of the Buffin's Crock, and they always ask, and poor Jarrett, poor lad, he's always had to turn them away and say, we don't serve the Buffin's Crock here, it's only at the Green Dragon. Well, what if we allowed him to enter into a business arrangement with Gerda Buffin? She provides the mushrooms and the recipe. And
I'll draw up the legal documents.
Right, so I've just played this through in my head. I've just played the situation through in my head. Let's walk up to Gerda Buffin. Here's those mushrooms we stole from your tree. Want to join a business venture with us?
No.
That'll go great.
No.
See how Humboldt takes that.
Here's what I say. We slap
Rumbled. His name's Rumbled.
Rumbled.
I said what I said.
he knows what you said. He mispronounced it on purpose because he's a
So
little
if we
punk.
do these mythical empanadas and get money from these mythical empanadas, and then take that money to her as a sweetener to the deal, just be like, listen, sorry, yep, we stole. Here's the money for that from our profits. Wink. We made a lot of money, and my hypothetical, of course, we did. And you take this money. This is how much you usually are paid for your batch of mushrooms. Double it. We got money to spend in my hypothetical, and then business proposal. Bam, bam, money, legal documents signed there. Rumble, my bad. I'm sorry, man. Young Fred, you're gonna have to fire him. Then
That's a condition of the arrangement.
that is the condition. Unfortunately, that is. And if we have to get more money, if we have to slay dragon, we got to do that. Fred has to go at the end of the day. So
Oh man.
You've
Well,
unlocked the secret mission, franchise opportunity.
That's freaking
it's money. It's a corporation. Come on, business.
right. Barty,
So
I
you
think
guys are talking some great big game, right? In word, it sounds great. In word, it sounds lovely. I hate it, first of all. Let me just set the record straight right now. I hate it. Tooth and nail. Right. First things first. If I'm not agreeing, if we do this, hush. If we do this, we've got to talk to Mr. Beefcake and his wife first of all. Because, and listen to me, if you guys are going to be so hard set on doing the right thing, again, I hate it, I don't think it's the right thing. If you guys are going to be so set on that tiny little nail in the wall of this whole plan, then you've got to do the right thing from the start and come clean to her. Because otherwise, you're still sneaking around, you're still making stuff with her IP. These mushrooms are, for all intents and purposes, hers, right? We've agreed on that. So if we're going to go making things with her mushrooms, you're no better than if we just made the soup and made the entirety of Mickle Delving happy for the Yuletide feast.
No, because we've retrospectively paid for them with all of my hypothetical money.
Right. So say the empanadas or whatever, say they don't sell. Then what?
Not a chance.
You're stuck with no mushrooms, nothing to stand on, and an angry Slamfast, whatever his name is. I forget. I'm so bad with this big man's name. He scares the name right out of my bleeding brain.
Slamfast? What?
That's the gardener. Hamfast is
That is the
guy.
gardener.
He's the training gardener.
Slam
Rumble.
fast.
Rumble.
Slam
Remember.
fast. That sounds like a WWE wrestler. I like that.
And his sponsored drink is Slim Fast.
He's just a really skinny guy for no reason.
He's got a hobbit gym behind the green dragon.
Man.
Right, but you hear what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't
okay.
make sense to do the right thing and still sneak around and make it not right.
So it'd be better to do the wrong things just from the get-go and keep going with the wrong
We
thing.
already did, in your words, the wrong thing. So either we commit and keep our word to Sheriff Bolger, or you eat crow and talk to
Gerda Buffin.
iron pounding Rumbold.
So well stated options, I think. Man, I should have more ethical conundrums. I won't have to work at all for this podcast. Just let you guys argue the whole time. So, more or less stated. Well,
We kind of need to decide if we are going to journey now or not.
Yeah, we're either going to the Green Dragon or the Bird and the Babe, right? One of the
I want to make empanadas. We gotta go back.
Well,
we gotta.
I
Dude,
think it would
just be
just
very interesting.
yeah, parenthetically, it would be so we could. What Barry is proposing is that they take all of the ingredients and their knowledge. So basically, we could produce the soup now as it is. We have a pretty confident.
supposedly.
If we had a cook that knew what he was doing, which Jarrett is. So what Barry is proposing, in the long and the short of it, is we go to Jarrett saying that Gerda Boffin is offering him a business deal in expanding to his inn. And so we get the money from him because it would be like a royalty thing. He would have to pay her some royalties, which I feel like he would be more than willing to do. So we would get the royalty money and bring that back to Gerda Boffin as kind of like a, we're very sorry, here's this money, and also here's a business opportunity for you, and we'll help you expand your mushroom operation. Since Barry knows how to grow mushrooms, he can also expand the mushroom growing business out there so that the mushrooms can be grown fresh in Mickle Delving. And that could be a springboard for her to franchise out into all the different boroughs of the
so this
shop.
is the double down franchise
That's right.
option. Where you lie to both parties separately.
Yes,
and-
exactly.
And hope that it meets
It's
together
easier-
in the
Because
middle.
it won't.
Because it's easier
It's-
to ask
it
for
won't.
forgiveness than
This is a
permission.
luck-based game,
But it is an
Daniel.
option. It is an option. That's the important thing to highlight. We need to narrow this down to options and then decide on one.
Okay, here's what I see the two options being. A, go to the Bird and Babe first. I think we need to start with going one way or the other.
Right.
We can come up with a plan on the way.
Sure.
We either go back to the Green Dragon and start there, or go to the Bird and the Babe and start there.
Barry
that's what it
does
comes
not
down
want to
to.
go back to the Green Dragon.
Word, me neither.
Okay, so we're going to the Bird and Babe.
There you go.
Okay.
So let's
So-
do our journey roll.
Shall I roll, or do you guys want to?
I don't know that it matters. Functional, because we don't have any kind of mechanical advantage so far, or perhaps ever, but that's okay.
And what's the path that you're taking? We should have
Off
decided that
road
first.
probably, right? We don't want to go on the
Yeah.
road because we have a sack full of stolen mushrooms. We've got some hot goods.
Agreed.
Okay.
I also agree with that because
Okay.
of
I can roll.
reasons.
I'll go ahead and roll.
Oh, Jerry already rolled.
Oh,
for
he
it.
already rolled. Never mind. Oh,
Word.
that's, okay. I'll
you, Jerry.
allow it. I'll allow it because it was a good roll.
Yeah, just because of that reason.
You are able to relocate the entrance, at least as far as you suspect, to the shortcut, which goes back towards Mickle Delving. It is already halfway through the day before you leave. Indeed, it's even approaching evening as you didn't leave Hobbiton until the middle of the afternoon. So, being off-road, you can find a decent place to camp shortly before nightfall if you'd like, or you can try to push through. Since you are off the path, it's a little harder to do, but you could try and keep walking, hoping to find rest at the end of your journey rather than spending the night resting in the fields.
I say, let's just keep going. The less interaction, the less possible interaction we have with other passersby, the better. And I feel like the later we travel, the fewer passerbys we'll run into.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
I potentially agree, provided we know exactly what our light sources are and how far away we might be from the main path. Because I don't want to be stumbling around in the dark. But if we have a light source, we also want to make sure we're far enough away from the main path that bounders won't spot our lights and come investigate. You know what I mean?
Well, the other night was a full moon. I should be
So it's going to
fine.
be partially full moon now.
Oh, that's fair point. I forgot it was full moon, so it's still a full moon. How I take a look around, and what do the surroundings look like?
He says to himself.
I'm asking the DM. What does? How well can I see?
It looks like a pretty fair night, just based on your journey roll. It looks like the evening moon will illuminate your path fairly clearly. If you came across any copses of trees or shadowy parts where the hills cover the path, you wouldn't be able to see extremely well. And hobbits are not necessarily well visioned at night, but you think as long as the weather holds up and your luck does as well, you don't see any problem just traversing the path. You would probably have some sort of provision for seeing. You probably have some sort of lantern that you could hold, that your candle would not be just out and showing everything. You could kind of steer it.
Right.
So we'll say that you would be able to well enough travel in the evening as well.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Okay. I will have you all make a Constitution saving throw, just to see if you become exhausted along the way. You'd probably take your time, and you probably would not be able to do any foraging along the way.
Makes sense.
Because of the darkness. So it'll probably be a slightly higher DC for your exhaustion, since you probably wouldn't be able to eat either.
I mean, I got a sack full of mushrooms. I'm chilling.
We
Sure, you
plenty of
can
food.
eat the mushrooms, but you have already done so. So if you rely on that too much,
We've got 2 rolls, a 17 and a 7.
Barry got a 17.
We're just rolling once, right? Not disadvantage or
Yep.
anything.
just one. Okay,
Word.
Oh, crit success. Does that bleed into
that's
me?
good.
Wow. It's a party check, I would think, so.
So this roll is for resisting a level of exhaustion, basically. So I'll say that doesn't necessarily help you, but I'll say that with that roll, I'll say that you, Banjo, as you're walking, you slightly veer off the path, just kind of enjoying your surroundings, and you actually almost stumble into a blackberry patch, and you find that there's a bunch of blackberries that you can actually glean from, and you wouldn't have found it unless you tripped into. So you did get a little cut up in the thorns, but it's well worth the amount of berries that you're able to pick. It looks like they were just ripe for the picking. It's the absolute perfect time to literally run into this bush. So we'll say that that's the result there. Jerry, I will say that you do gain 1 level of exhaustion. So for until you can recover that, you will be rolling at disadvantage with all skill checks. So that'll be that first level of exhaustion for you.
Yikes.
And Daniel, you did pass or rather Barry, you did pass the check.
Huzzah.
So no effect on you there. So
Wow.
you are able to pass through the time, and perhaps you take to sharing a riddle or two with one another as you pass through, just to pass the time as you're walking along and making sure you stay on this less well-worn path that continues as your previously traveled trek from Mickle Delving to Hobbiton, now traversing the opposite direction. you encourage one another, maybe with a riddle. Does anybody have a riddle they'd like to share?
But I'll let Barry go because I'm afraid my brain won't remember it properly.
Right, lads. We've got a riddle, and as you know, it's probably plant related because it's me, but that's alright. It's still a grand riddle. It's very simple. It goes like this. An eye in a blue face said to an eye in a white face, that eye is like to this eye, but in a low place, not a high place. What are they?
The sun and the moon?
Nope. Good guess, though.
That's a great guess and you know it.
That's a very good guess. I'll say it again, one more time. An eye in a blue face said to an eye in a white face, that eye is like to this eye, but in a low place, not a high place.
It's time. Time's always the answer.
That's very true, that's very true. Half of the riddles I know, the answer is time. But the answer is actually the sun and a daisy.
I was right.
The sun and a daisy. See, the daisy is a yellow center inside a bunch of white petals. And the sun is a yellow center inside a blue. Yeah, that's the riddle.
It's a thinker.
That's a thinker. It's a bit of a ponderer. It's a head scratcher, that one.
Your riddle stinks.
Well,
I've got one. It's a nice short one. It's a
All right.
nice short one. What you call a belt that's made out of clocks?
I bet Sheriff Bolger could use one.
You know, it would just be a waste of time.
Oh, dear.
What's
Good
a clock?
Banjo, that's
I'm sure they have
hilarious.
something like that.
I'll have to remember that one to tell me, lads.
It's a
You
good
should
one.
tell it to Sheriff Bolger after you tell him you botched the mission.
And in the future, they'll make up one else that says it's a time belt. But they don't know. I don't know what that is.
The answer's still time.
Barty, what about you? You've got a riddle for us?
I don't have a riddle, but I figured I'd pass the time by singing a little jaunty tune me ma used to sing whenever we take walks down to the river bend. And so he sings a jiddle song.
Is it just around the
Just
river?
kidding, I do have one.
Greatest adventure.
Is
What's that one from?
lies ahead.
Yeah.
The one. No. Down the path the hobbit goes, through the fields of green, and sunlit glows. With sturdy feet and heart so light, he hums along from morn to night. Tip tap, tippy tap, toes on the way, wandering far yet home to stay. With hills ahead and hills behind, this hobbit sings his troubles blind.
Dude, that is so good. That is so good.
That's a
Thanks,
grand
Banjo.
song.
You've got to teach me so we can sing together on the road.
I'll DM you.
Respectfully.
So, between the singing and the riddles, you are able to pass the time in the evening quite quickly. And approaching Mickle Delving as the sun has just risen, you head towards the post office where you heard that Bolger was waiting for you and hoping to hear back from his team, his crack team, which he sent out
His
to
croc
retrieve
team.
Boffin's croc.
Croc team.
Croc Team 6. Crap Team 6.
Oh dear.
As you walk into town, you can you see the post office on that side. You see that there's a little smoke coming from the chimney, and it seems that somebody at least is there. It's probably close to an hour after dawn, I would say, by the time you get there.
Ooh, well, I'm right tired. Oh, those blackberries are still in me pouch, but we've got to find somewhere to sleep for the morning or the night or.
Well, you think the time for sleeping is past? We just skipped a night of sleep there.
Question. I got a question for you, lad, since nobody listened to my idea. I'm in the blooming dark. Are we going to go talk to Sheriff Bolger first? We're going to talk to Jared first? We're going to send a raven to the Green Dragon Tavern?
Well, I wasn't exactly counting on encountering Sheriff Bolger. We don't exactly have grand news to tell him. So I was kind of figuring on going to the Bird and Babe first and make our proposition to Jarrett. Make our proposition to Jarrett. I'm not sure. I mean, it obviously depends because we haven't really decided for certain what we're going to do here now that we're here. So maybe we ought to pause outside of town real fast and have a little discussion on
You can have whatever conversation you want to on the road before you get there.
Well, what do we want to do then? Do we want to go through with it and go to Sheriff Bolger and give him the recipe and the ingredients? Do we want to go and proposition Jarrett for a
I say we just go straight to Jarrett. Let's just go straight to Jarrett, because that's the plan that you two decided on, and at this point, Barty's too tired to try persuading you guys.
All right.
Word. Yeah, definitely. I feel like we'll bump into Sheriff Bolger sooner or later.
We will.
But let's not
We will eventually,
try.
I'm sure. He'll hear that we're in town and probably come into the Bird and Babe, but
Here's the thing, boys.
Be like, we try.
Here's the thing. If we run into Mr. Sheriff Bolger, he's on you.
Sure, we'll
Right.
take care of it. Don't you fret, lad. I have
I
a
am no
feeling
longer-
you had a rough night.
Don't
I
worry,
had a
Barry
great
will
night.
take care of it. Don't you fret, lad.
Banjo's like, yeah, that's right. He's got you. No, you will.
He's
Yeah,
got
go.
you. Yeah, jeez.
Okay, so we head to the Bird and Babe.
Wonderful. So yeah, in similar fashion, you in approaching the Bird and Babe, there is smoke rising from the chimney. The winter air is definitely beginning to set in. So the morning chill has certainly left your bones a bit more achy than normal, particularly Barty. Even though you didn't sleep last night, you muscled your way through, and perhaps the crisp air helped with that, since you weren't exactly snug and comfortable. But as you approach the Bird and Babe, you smell the delicious smell of perhaps some flapjacks on the griddle. Definitely you hear some hubbub from within. It appears that there are those already there for breakfast, if not second breakfast. And while not a overwhelming bustle of activity yet, there's definitely a lot going on today.
I want some flapjacks with a side of hubbub. Yeah, that actually flapjacks sounds so good. Let's go in and get some food and see if we can get Jarrett on the line.
Yeah, we should take seats at the bar, not a table. They have a bar there, right?
Mhm.
They have a bar there.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
we're
we
gonna
might
take
even
seats at the bar.
sidebar.
Barty
with
raises his
Jarrett.
hand and asks for an ale.
Yeah, try to talk in private. Be like, Jarrett, can we? But after breakfast, we need to eat first, dude.
That's right. We're hungry.
Hungies.
We ain't had nothing all night but blackberries.
You know, not no day, but blacky berries.
We ain't had nothing to eat but blackberries. And 3
So-
We're just saying the same thing 5 times in different accents.
Hey guys,
if
did
that's
you
not
know
humor, I don't know
when
what
they were
is.
filming Lord of the Rings, when Aragorn was kicking that helmet? When Viggo Mortensen, he actually broke his toe.
As you walk into the Bird and Babe, you see that they have it set up almost as a buffet style build your own flapjacks setup here. So you see that there's a plate at the beginning of a table that's set close to the door, and Jarrett is behind the counter, just churning out flapjacks, and they are just coming fast and hot, even flipping some over to those who enter. And as you come in, he greets you. Oh, hello there! You here for the flapjacks today? I've got a couple coming right off. Here we go. Ready? Grab that plate. I'll flip it over to you.
Smacks Barty in his face.
He throws 3 big-sized flapjacks. They're as big as the plates themselves.
Nice.
And as you turn, you see that there's some lovely fresh butter, followed by several different berry compotes. You even see that there's some bacon and eggs you can put on top of your flapjacks
that.
if you prefer.
Delicious.
All manner of interesting and delicious looking accoutrement. So you can make your way through that line and find a seat as you'd like at the bar right across from Jarrett, who is continuing to cook flapjacks and keep everybody happy that comes in. Would you like a cup of tea or perhaps an ale this morning? I know it's a bit of a crisp morning, but
tea will be good for me, thank you. Sorry,
Absolutely.
I'm a bit tired from the night's journey.
Oh, well, I've got quite the thing for you here. This is a nice soothing herbal mix that my wife makes with it. There's a little bit of comfrey in there as well. Thank you once again, Master. Yes, it's very, very good. Here you are, sir. You enjoy that. For you masters as well?
Oh, nothing like a pint of ale to warm me bones after a chilly morning.
Absolutely. Very, very good. We've got our breakfast brew right here. It's delicious. There you go. And he slides it down the bar as well. And somebody else comes in as he's serving you. Oh, here's another flapjack. Watch your heads. He flips it right over your head, and it lands squarely atop the bald dome of the elderly hobbit who just walked in. And he
He's happy
just
to be there.
without a pause, he continues on, puts it on his plate, and starts loading it from the bar just as you did. Well, how was your you went off as didn't you? Is it a secret still? You
No.
told me you weren't. No.
It's not a secret. I'll tell you right now.
Everything's
We were
fine.
looking for mushrooms. These boys over here, they found them too. Tell him, Barry. What you gonna tell him, Barry? Tell
I
him
know
you think, Barry.
You told me you were working with Bulger last time.
Not anymore, apparently.
Banjo. No.
Well, the long and the short of it is,
Hobbits are passive aggressive, right?
Corporate espionage. But then, a change of heart.
we have a bit of a business opportunity for you, if you're interested. I know that you've done well with the Bird and Babe, but of course there's always competition, and as we all know, if there's one particular dish that all hobbits know and crave all times of the year, but especially when it's cold out, it's that Buffin's crock. Am I right or am I right?
Oh, you're right.
The number of times that I've been asked for that dish, I couldn't tell you. Oh, and we can never live up to the reputation. No. You mentioned that you were going to try to find the recipe. I told you I'd help you with that. Were you able to find anything about it? Is that something you're still interested in doing?
Well, listen to this. Not only have we found the recipe, but what would you say if I told you you had a franchising opportunity with...
A franchise?
That's right. You see,
Cha-ching!
his eyes, dollar signs.
I start drawing like graphs and like statistics, the made up statistics.
Here's your estimated success.
Here's the market quarter today. As you can see, that the market segment...
You want to buy low, yeah, and you want to sell when it's high, like this. When it spikes like that, and it's green, and when it's red,
This
and
is
go
what
down
your
there.
business is doing, and this is what you want your business to do.
He pulls out
Yeah,
some
change
spectacles.
it. Change it.
You have an opportunity to make and sell Buffin's crock right here in your own Bird and Babe. What would you say to that?
Well, that's quite an interesting proposition. What I believe we talked about before you left was perhaps I would help you figure out the recipe to Buffin's crock, and thence and thus more, I would perhaps have the recipe and then serve it to my guests. Is that what we're talking about? I think that's pretty agreeable.
But
Well-
the thing is, Joffrey, there's a ingredient in this soup that is not so easily come by.
So you found the secret to Buffin's crock.
Well,
Some would say.
Here's the secret, Jarrett. The secret is Mrs. Buffin. There's a lady named Buffin's crock who is the secret.
Oh yeah, everybody knows that. Gerda Buffin.
You suck. You suck, Jarrett.
You know what? Just for that, never mind. We're going back to Sheriff Boulder. Screw you with your Bird and Babe. Never mind.
Bird, screw the babe, get it
We're
all out of
taking-
here. I don't want any of them.
We're taking our mushrooms and we're giving them right to that.
You've not paid
there
for the
goes the recipe.
pancakes.
There goes the recipe. He just said we're taking our mushrooms.
No.
Of course, we would
yes,
never, ever.
I think I could be interested in what you're talking about. I definitely I would be able to make great use of any recipe of that crock because, well, everybody wants it.
Now, you mentioned this learning the recipe as if it was some casual thing, but obviously, if you really had wanted to do it, you would have done it by now. Clearly, it hasn't been very, very attainable for you, or else you would have made your own replica recipe by now.
Yeah, no, it's never quite right. No, no. But you found the secret, you've said.
That's right.
Yes.
We have the secret. And
It's these. And I hold up the bag. But it's almost empty now.
No.
Not almost empty.
No.
You can't see anything like coming out of the pack, but I just hold it up. It's all in here.
How
This
many
is the
hours
secret.
did we spend collecting them?
we didn't
I guess
we didn't take
No,
a
it's not
ton. We
collecting.
took enough for a good healthy batch, I think.
Yeah, but enough have been consumed that it's not like sticking out all the angles. We can't see what's in the bag.
Sure, it's
The party
just
just holds it up.
a lumpy
Secret's in
bag.
here.
Right. So we do have the secret of Boffin's crock. The secret is inside the bag, and we can offer to you an opportunity to partner with Gerda Boffin and sell Boffin's crock here at the Bird and
So
Babe.
what you have to do, you have to tell 3 friends about it.
It's a pyramid, just turns into a pyramid scheme.
It's an MM.
That's not a pyramid
It's a
scheme.
multi-mark-
Draws a triangle around.
MLM. We're back to MLMs. Multi-level
So-
marketing.
So what you're proposing, if I understand correctly, you'll hand me the recipe to Boffin's crock along with the secret ingredient, and it looks like a supply of it to serve in my establishment. And in return, you get...
Money.
Oh,
Well, we have to pay. See, part of the franchising. Let me explain this for the lesser familiar with the concept.
I
That's right.
assumed
I'm
it was a
educating. I'm
cake.
educating Banjo here, so we'll teach you. So franchising is when one business has an opportunity to expand, and they allow someone else to sell their product in their name. And
also Gerda is giving up her recipe, and that's what I'm paying for.
well, she's not exactly giving it up. She's allowing you to make it and sell it
Okay.
at your establishment for a small fee,
Interesting. All right.
as a sort
Well,
of
I think I understand now.
an ongoing
Go-
business.
Go ahead and make your persuasion or deception roll. I guess it doesn't matter either way.
It's a good
because
thing
they're
I'm not the
same
one trying
modifier.
to convince him.
That's right. Okay. All right. Fingers crossed.
Oh, that's
Fail.
not good. That's not good,
Ooh.
ladies and gents.
That's a 6. That is a 6.
Didn't pull up.
And
So-
might I add, we also have a side hustle about empanadas.
Well, yeah.
It's like I'm not sure I can wrap my mind around this franchise business. Like I told you before, I'm happy to try and. Well, you've already got the recipe, you've said, so I'm not sure what help I can be. I've said we'd try to make that recipe. Of course, my wife does most of the cooking. These flapjacks, they're nothing, but she does all the cooking. But I think I'm not sure how this involves with Bulger, which you told me. I'm curious as to how this developed out of that. Yeah, yes.
I'm
Bart.
going to interrupt, first of all. I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is not my idea. This is all Barry's. So, Barry, step in if I'm grotesquely overstepping. Here's the thing. I'm going to banjo it down for you here.
Bambo.
Banjo it down.
So,
Wow.
all you're doing is buying the recipe, buying the ability to make the soup, and then you can make it all you want. And supposedly Gerda Boffin is going to agree with the agreements. And Bulger has no idea that we're doing this. Just since we're being honest.
And,
But he
and how
wins because
much-
there's soup. We still get
What's-
the soup to the... I'm sorry, Jared. He still gets the soup in the end of the day, right? We still have the recipe, so he's still going to get his soup for the festival, right?
Oh, so I'm making it for Bulger.
No, you're making it for the Bird and the Babe. And the Bird and the Babe supplies for the Yule.
Oh, I
Technically.
see. Okay. So,
And you'll be making
alright.
so much money.
And
from
how
that.
much? What's the price for this famous Boffin's Crock recipe?
Barry?
1,000,000 gold. and a half.
That's
And a
quite
hash.
a large number.
No.
I think he's joking.
Oh,
Um,
of course. I didn't.
Is that too little?
Well, I know you've been up to Hobbiton. You may have seen old what's his face and gotten, the wealth of Bag End, or who knows.
Right. Well,
Would we still be eating blackberries marching into your establishment if we found all the wealth in Bag End, Jarrett? Come on now.
Well, I'd like to think so. You told me you'd make the trip back here every
I
time.
sure did, and I mean it. Mean it to me core, brother.
Brava.
right. Well, I know that you're an honest and humble businessman, and I know that you do fairly well for yourself, but I wouldn't expect any kind of exorbitant amount. In fact, what I'm willing to do is I suspect that Gerda Boffin's desire for a franchising fee might be a little bit more than you might be able to pay. I'm guessing in the neighborhood of close to 200 to 300 gold, which is quite an amount. So what I'm proposing is perhaps I can volunteer some of my own coin as a sort of a loan to cover what you might not be able to provide yourself. I've been tucking away coin for quite some time, selling me herbs and stuff. So I would be willing to provide some of that fee, but we'll say perhaps 200 coin might be sufficient for this sort of a business venture. I mean, you stand to gain quite an awful lot if word got around that Mickle Delving had Boffin's Crock available, while you'd have the entire Western Farthing flocking to your doorstep, seeking out the Boffin's Crock, knowing that they didn't have to make the harrowing journey to Hobbiton and fight all those folks over there. I feel like you'd stand to gain far, far, far more than 200 mere gold. What do you say to that?
He kind of rubs his chin and leans back and burns his hand a little bit on the griddle. Oh, I must admit that's a bit more buying power than I have. That's almost as much as I've got in this place. I'm not sure I could come up with such an amount if I had to.
Well,
certainly.
What could you do? What could you do? If we're talking about what do you have that you could have? What could you put down? Do you have 50 gold, 100 gold? What could you?
You could put your house up for, collateral.
No.
If you don't collect, we can take it from you.
Well, I've got to tell you, boys, I'm not quite sure that I can commit to such a thing. I need to talk it over with my wife and see if she's interested in expanding the business in this way. Certainly we'd make a bundle. I hope so, and I'd need to make sure we could use the recipe, and that's hard to do without knowing it, and what we could get the supply from for it and such. So I'm not sure. I'll think on it, you lads, but mind you, I couldn't make that decision today. I just don't think I could.
Quick sidebar with the guys. Yeah, guys. So, what if, just to kind of sweeten the deal, we give him a couple of the ingredients and stuff to see if he and his wife can, in the meantime...
Banjo.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant idea. What if we take it one step further and make the bloomin' soup?
We're gonna do that.
Right. If we make the soup, right, like we promised Sheriff Bolger, he can make sure that it's the actual recipe, right?
First, and then we can...
And then he has
the bridge back up with the girdle later.
Exactly.
Barry, I need your thoughts, man.
Barry has no thoughts. Listen to good old Barty on this one.
That sounds like a fair idea to me. I think
we can address girdle later.
Of course it is.
Yep, let's do that.
Jared.
So, go ahead.
Here you go. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Please do go. I didn't really know where I was going with it. Anyways.
It's just all, Jarrett, Nothing.
No, I just have a cool name. I finally
just twirling in my bar stool. Nothing.
Well, during your little huddle, it appears that the traffic in has slowed down at least a little bit. Not a few came in while you were talking, and so Jared is now kind of putting away the supplies for the flapjacks and tidying up. So you turn around and he's wiping down the bar and getting some more glasses ready for the next wave of customers when they come in. He says, "Well, so yes, I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, did you have anything else that what's the deal?
Here's what we'll do for you, Jared. These two lads and I. Let me rephrase. These two lads are going to make you the soup. They're going to make you and your lady a delicious bowl of muffins grog.
We're going to help you because we don't know how to cook. Obviously, your wife does.
Banjo's going to step out of the building to hurl over the railing.
Just talking about soup too much.
Basically.
Well, I couldn't say no to that.
Good. So, what do you say? We don't know what's a good time to maybe after hours. You guys have a few close.
Sure, probably after second breakfast. There's a good break before 11's. So I think we could see how we do then. Just come on back to the kitchen and we'll have some of our junior staff run the front. I'll call in a favor and we'll see what we can do.
Righto. We're gonna go tie things with Sheriff Boffin and Sheriff Bolger. My bad. We're gonna go tie things up with Sheriff Bolger. But thank you, Jared, again. And how much for the flapjacks?
Well, I'm happy to give those to you. You boys looked sure hungry. You consumed those in about 3 seconds. So I gotta keep my loyalist customers well fed. And those flapjacks, they're not, but anyway, we'll catch you next time.
But dead ground up.
So we'll close this session on the generosity of a patron here.
I was gonna laugh so hard. I thought I had predicted your closeout. I thought you were gonna go with, and Sheriff Bolger enters the tavern, and that's where we're closing.
Oof, that would have been scary.
I was tempted to. But no, we'll end on that with you enjoying the last few bites of your flapjacks and mulling over this proposition of creating the soup and seeing where the latest Buffin's Croc franchise can possibly go to when we resume next time. Blunders and Flagons is a creation of David Lennox in partnership with Daniel and Drew Lennox and Jerry Hoppmann. Content for this adventure is compiled from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings universe. The system and certain names and details of this adventure were adapted from the Free League's work, the Lord of the Rings Roleplaying and Shire Adventures starter set for 5e. Sounds in this episode were sourced in part from freesound.org under the Creative Commons and Attribution license. Atmosphere and other sounds were derived from Monument Studios' fantasy music and cinematic atmosphere collections under the Creative Commons license. Other music was created using Suno Premium. Detailed attribution found in the description.
All right.
Very
fantastic.
Fun,
that was such a fun episode.
I think it was 30 minutes that we had an argument for. It's 30 to 45 minutes long.
Easily 30 minutes.